How many of you guys are truly happy that you decided to leave dating, relationships, and marriages alone for good? I want to hear it in the comment section to see where your headspace is at so I can have an idea of what you guys want. There's no right or wrong answer. I just want you guys to be honest with yourselves and tell me if you're satisfied with the decisions you've made so far. With that said, for the men who have been holding the line and are fully committed to dying alone, I have some statistics to share with you today that show men and women aren't getting together in the States anymore like they did in the past. I know we sound like a broken record when we celebrate more men waking up and deciding to boycott women, but we're now at a point where it's probably impossible for traditionalism to come back. I know when you guys go out in public, you see happy couples together and families with their kids all smiling and joyful, and you may think to yourselves that maybe these RP guys don't know what they're talking about and love and family still exist. But before you decide to sign it like a lamb to the slaughter, I want you to stop and think back to when you were in a relationship and marriage, and then look at the present. What exactly happened between when you had a so-called loving wife or girlfriend and now when you're single? What happened? You lost the girl in your family because she decided she no longer needed you, or you decided to leave, but either way, the relationship ended. Both of you were once happy. You laughed together, went out in public together and had a good time. Sometimes you cried together and made love to each other, but in the end, you guys still went your separate ways. So when you see people in public or friends you know, and it seems like their relationship is fantastic, I want you to realize that once upon a time, that was everybody until the relationship ended. See, there will be a point where we are going through a rough time in our lives when we'll start to question if choosing the path of singlehood was the best option instead of getting our own personal woman. It's going to happen in a time when we are down bad or feeling lonely, and we see people we know who look happily married or couples that we don't know who looks like they're in love, and we'll start to crave what we don't have. That's normal, gents. It's going to happen to all of us who choose to walk this road at some point in our journey, and I'm here to tell you that it too shall pass. I know it doesn't feel like it, and maybe you feel like you made the wrong decision, but the problem is you're all in your feelings, and you're not thinking rationally. We as men tend to be forgetful, and often it works against us. You guys don't remember the hell you went through in your relationships and marriages because you had time to heal. So you forget the emotional and verbal abuse, sometimes physical abuse. You forget the cheating and the backstabbing. You forget having to put up with BS and having no peace, quiet, and freedom in your own home, and you forget the loneliness and lack of sex you had to deal with for years until the relationship ended. You guys lack perspective because you can't remember how bad your breakup was, how lonely you felt even though you had someone to come home to, and how frustrated it made you feel to hear that no matter what you did, you couldn't make her happy. That is the problem you guys have. You forgot the pain and suffering that these evil people did to you, and that's why you're contemplating going back to the plantation even though deep down you know it's a mistake. It's normal, gents. Your body has evolved to bring you back to this state in order to procreate, scatter your seeds, and multiply, but you must think logically and resist the urge to destroy your lives. We live in the last days, brothers, and we cannot act like we did centuries or millennials ago. Today's world no longer rewards men for being together with XXs because they are the ops in many instances, and they really don't care about us. So even though you guys see happy couples all around you, what you don't see is what happens behind closed doors and when they remove their masks and reveal the state of their relationship in private. So never grudge or envy the man you see with his wife or girlfriend because, based on statistics, they will break up or get divorced with time. It's almost guaranteed because it's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when. And were you to make the mistake of entering a relationship because you felt lonely or thought things would be different this time, eventually you'll lose your woman too and end up single all over again. So I want you guys to understand that the feelings will change or go away with time, but you must be patient and let it pass. The worst thing you can do as a man is let feelings dictate your life because every feeling comes and goes. You will feel lonely, sad, hopeless, or angry that you're single throughout your lifetime, and it's oak. Learn to let your emotions come and go until you refocus yourselves and return to appreciate being single. Nobody said this road would be easy, but I can assure you that it will be worth it. You guys just need to be patient and watch all the people who looked happy and in love with each other go in and out of relationships, and that will validate your decision to stay single. Remember, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they'll break up. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I'm going to risk showing a video that will put things into perspective and make you realize relationships aren't getting better anytime soon. Today's video is from CNBC International, and it's titled, "Why Are People Not Getting Married Anymore?" Grab a snack, pop open a cold one, and let's dive into the video.
89% of the world's population now live in countries with falling marriage rates. This is especially pronounced in the richest countries. Among the 38 OECD nations, most recorded between 7 and 10 marriages per 1,000 people in 1970. By 1995, this fell to around 5 to 7 marriages, and it continues to plummet today.
As you guys can see from the data, people aren't getting married anymore, and it's expected to only get worse as time passes. So if you're considering getting married as a man, you're an idiot, especially without protection. If people around you are not getting married, then why would you decide to go against the grain and try to prove that there's still hope out here? That's dumb, and there's no reward even if you end up being the one out of many to die and have a successful marriage. Marriage is the worst it has ever been since the first man and woman got married, and today's XXs are the worst of any previous generation with the things that they've done in their past by the time you get to them, so there's no good reason to get married as an average man in society. Marriage today is for the super rich and powerful, not for ordinary people like you and me, because there are no more benefits. At best, it's a financial burden and unnecessary responsibility until it ends, so what's the point? You guys have to answer that question for yourselves because women monetize and weaponize the main reason why men would get married and turned it into child support and parental alienation. There's no more reason for men to get married because sex is out here in abundance, religion is dead, and the one good reason men had to get married, which was to have kids, is no longer a viable option because women are taking the kids away from fathers and poisoning their minds against them. So right now, marriage makes zero sense for regular people, and men and women are figuring that out. Let's continue.
Stable marriage has often been associated with financial stability. Married households in the US hold significantly higher wealth than cohabiting couples or singles. But despite this, the marriage rate in the US has dropped by nearly 60% since the 1970s, and the median age for first-time marriages has increased for both women and men.
See, you can't convince men to get married because it will be beneficial economically. That's dumb. All men know that even if they make more money when they're married, they barely get to keep any of it or have the freedom to spend it on whatever they want. Most of the money goes towards the woman and kids, not the man, so it only benefits the woman. Women marry up for financial gain, not men, and in most cases, men don't need their wife's income to live a decent life, but women typically can't live off of their own income even if they make good money because they can't manage money. Also, the age of marriage increased because XXs decided to follow womanism and put college and jobs ahead of marriage and raising families. I blame them for this mess because they are the ones wasting time on the CC and focusing on their careers when they should be looking for husbands. Let's continue.
American adults from high-income groups have maintained a stable marriage rate since the 1970s. But among the middle and especially lower-income groups, marriages declined to 66 and 38% respectively by 2018. Since the 1970s, there has been a decline in the number of American men without college degrees in the US labor force. The last 50 years also saw their earnings stagnate and decrease.
But last time I checked, weren't women the ones looking down on men without college degrees even if they made more money working a blue-collar job? Also, aren't women the ones with unrealistic expectations and complaining that there aren't enough economically attractive men? Seem like a woman's problem, not a man's problem. I'm sure broke ninjas would still get married if women wanted to marry them and required marriage before they could access the cookie. So again, men are not to blame because poor ninjas were still getting married in the past. The people who have changed the most are XXs, the people who are choosing to put off marriage are XXs, and the people who are prioritizing everything but marriage and staying married are women, not men. So this decline is a result of women choosing not to get married and incentivizing men to not pursue marriage by giving up sex outside of marriage and penalizing men who get married, not the other way around. So what more needs to be said? The video dives deeper into the lack of religious people and some more valid reasons why marriage is dead. But I won't add them to the video because I don't want to risk getting a copyright strike, so I'll link it below so you guys can watch the whole thing. But the blame lies with XXs, not men. There are too many 304s out here for men to choose from, and then the laws punish men who risk and sacrifice to get married. So why would any sane man choose to still get married in 2023 and beyond? There's no good reason, and I'll never recommend marriage to any man as long as breath is still in my body. Click the video on the screen if you want to see more reasons to stay off the plantation for life.